What's up everyone, Gids here for another video on Blue Protocol Star Resonance, and today it's going to be a Frostbeam Mage guide for everyone that is maining the Frostbeam Mage spec. In this video, we're going to talk about the skills that you have, talent tree choices, equipment stat priorities, and battle imagine choices as well. Alright, so let's go. Okay, before anything, I did not play CBT, so if I missed any information that is actually critical to the Frostbeam Mage, please let me know in the comments below. Or if you have any guides that you are following or some pointers that you want to share as well, let me know in the comments below, because I've only been playing Frostbeam Mage since day 2 of the game and I did not play CBT. I went into the game blind and I just learned everything through just reading the stuff that we have and through testing stuff out. Alright, so yeah. Sharing stuff would be nice. Anyways, before we start, we want to learn more about our abilities so that people would know what I'm talking about when we get into the talent nodes. Okay, first things first, one of the core mechanics for the Frost Mage in general is the ice cores. Okay, so when we go to the dummies right here, these things right here get summoned. So whenever you do basic attacks, there's also a chance that these things also fire additional arrows, okay? Ice arrows to the enemy. So that's like one of your core mechanics that does a lot of damage to enemies. Next up, for the Frostbeam Mage specifically, we have this energy bar right here. So whenever you use your special ability or special skill right here, this is your Frostbeam, it will consume that energy bar right there. Okay, you can see it here, it's consuming it. Right. The next thing is the ice crystals right here. So ice crystals, there are talent nodes that help generate it and increase the max. But for the Frostbeam Mage, we don't really get to consume the ice crystals right here because that's for the icicle spec. But it still also gives us a lot of buffs when it comes to our talents. Okay. Next ability is going to be Tide Pool right here. Tide Pool is the tornado, water tornado, and it's a channeling ability. But once we get into the talent nodes, you can see here that this thing can actually be casted at the same time with the Frostbeam. Next up is Maelstrom right here. This ability is like your premium AoE ability because it actually pulls in enemies to the middle and it groups up a lot of mobs together, which is a really good, strong ability. Also, it regenerates your energy bar right here. The next skill that we're talking about is the Permafrost buff. So Permafrost basically gives us a lot of mana regen. It gives us a lot of haste as well. So if we go to your profile, you can see here my haste is a lot. And then my fourth skill here is Veil, Crystal Veil. Is it called Crystal Veil? Yes, it's called Crystal Veil. So it's basically just an ability that you throw out for additional damage. Good thing about this one is it actually generates ice crystals for you. So it generates one ice crystal when you cast it and generates more ice crystals every 3 seconds if I remember correctly. And then ult, we have to understand our ult because our ult is actually a big part of our burst combo. So ult right here, so it just summons a big ice meteor, but you can see here under our feet is an area where we actually get buffs. This is an area where we actually get additional damage for our abilities, where we get our ultra cold state, and we also get mana regen if we're standing on the ice field. So those are the core abilities that we will be using, and now let's talk about the talents. Okay, first talent tree here is for the Frost Mage, and everything should be unlocked. But just to take a look, this is the one that summons the ice cores. Some of these things are not useful for the Frostbeam Mage, so it's all good. Right? This one gives us M attack per intellect that we have. This one is useless for us because we don't use Meteor Storm and Frozen Gale. This one just gives additional stats. Okay, this one is for our special attack, which is the Frostbeam, to be able to freeze the targets. This one is just cooldown reduction. Intellect reaching 300 is pretty easy. And then intellect reaching 500, we gain 5% ice bonus. Ice energy cap is always really strong for us because we use the energy to be able to cast more of our Frostbeam. And then special attack is our Frostbeam. Okay, next again, more ice energy, and every haste that we have increases our ice energy regen speed. And then frost crystal cap is okay. Max energy plus 10 and special damage, special attack damage. This is huge for our Frostbeam. Okay, and then this one is just AoE, additional AoE damage for our ice arrow from the ice core. Okay, so now let's talk about the Frostbeam nodes. Okay, so first you want to take the first three right here. First one basically lets us fire ice arrows from the Frostbeam, because usually our ice arrows are only fired when we do basic attacks. So now it can also fire when we're on Frostbeam mode, because we can't really do basic attack when we're on Frostbeam mode. Okay, next one is Permafrost, our skill, our buff. Permafrost will be decreasing the energy consumption for Frostbeam, which is huge. And then the third one here is the one that lets us cast Tide Pool at the same time if we have Frostbeam active. Okay, next up right here, this one, I only took it because I can't find any other one, but usually you want to take this one later in the game because you get to benefit from it much more later than right now. So it says we gain 1 max energy up to 100 for every 50 intellect that we have. So like total of 5k intellect grants us the max. Is it 5k? Yes. Is it 5k? Yes. All right, so at 5k intellect, we get 100 extra ice energy. So yeah, this is gonna be really good at the late game. I'm not even sure if we can hit 5k intellect though, but we'll see. Anyways, next up we have Frost Jade Staff. So Frost Jade Staff is for the ice arrows that are being fired by the ice core. So there's a chance that we get energy from this one, and during permafrost, energy regen chance is doubled. Okay. And then here we have Frost Crystals. Max Frost Crystal increased by 3. And for each Frost Crystal that we have, Frostbeam damage is increased by 5%. So at 6 Frost Crystals, we get 30% increased damage for our Frostbeam. And remember, whenever we cast as well, right? So whenever we cast, we're also gaining Frost Crystal. And we showed earlier with Crystal Veil, we can already create Frost Crystals from Crystal Veil. Right? So you always want to open with Crystal Veil. Next up here, again, 20% chance to create Frost Crystals from Frostbeam. So again, once you hit like 6, you gain 30% increased damage. And then with this one as well, if we're at max Frost Crystals, we gain 5% more damage. So that's 35% increased damage total now. And then this one right here, we're gaining energy for when we do Tide Pool. And again, for each additional Frost Crystal that we have, the energy gain is higher. So we always want to stack up on Frost Crystals even though we don't really consume the Frost Crystals. Next up, Ice Skills deal 8% more damage to elites and stronger targets. So elites and boss enemies, if I understand it correctly. Okay, next up, Frost Domain. So area of Glacier Him is reduced by 50%. So this is the area for your ult. So it's reduced, but you gain 25% bonus ice damage when you're inside that area. So again, you never want to step out of your ult. So you don't want to be using your ultimate when the boss is doing mechanics or there's like fire on the ground, because you have to be standing within that area to be able to maximize your ult. Next up, 10% chance to increase or actually double your mastery for 3 seconds when you're on your Frostbeam. So this is a huge damage buff right here. All right, so before you can actually proceed after this area right here, you need to have spent like 50 talent points above here. Okay, so proceeding, the priorities over here is to actually follow this main route here in the middle. So let's talk about this first. So Rapid Ice Arrow. So during permafrost, Frostbeam fires 2 additional arrows, which is huge. But when we're on permafrost as well, Lucky Strike damage is reduced. This is why we don't want to be building a lot of luck stuff. So luck is like something that you want to stay away from this class. Next up, max energy plus 40. Very good. And then lastly, right here, this is why you want to focus a lot on crit and crit damage and your ice core and ice arrows, because you get increased crit rate for the ice arrows and increased crit damage for ice arrow. So huge stuff right here. Okay. Next up is this thing right here on this tree right here. So increases your haste by 500. Straight flat number. And during permafrost, it accelerates your use of skills by 15%. So this is basically haste effect right here as well. So pretty strong talent node right here. Next up, this thing right here as well, Endless Tide. So during permafrost again. So permafrost really is like your premium ability right here. Very, very important ability. So each ice arrow triggered by the ice core extends the duration of permafrost by 0.5 seconds up to 5 seconds. So 5-second extension on permafrost, huge buff, because again, we gain a lot from permafrost being active for our character. And then lastly, we have this one right here, which just increases our intellect by 5% and kind of synergizes with this one right here that increases our ice intellect. Okay. So other stuff that we can consider after we get like 4 more talent points. So this 1, 2 right here. So continuous stream. So trickle. So grants 1% ice damage bonus for 6 seconds. Stacking up to 5 times. So 5% increased damage again. Okay. So this is just when you're dealing damage. So pretty good stuff. And then this one right here as well. So this is just 1 talent point right here. So every 50 instances of damage dealt by Frostbeam, we trigger Cold Pulse, which is just additional 500% attack damage to an enemy. So this is every 50 instances of damage, right? So the instances of damage from Frostbeam actually increases if we have a lot of haste. That's why we want to have a lot of haste as well. Some considerations if you want to, this one right here, Raymaster 1 is actually okay. Like 5% more ice damage to the main target, and 2% damage in general for the Frostbeam. If you're focused on clearing mobs, this is like something that I have a problem with. If only we had like presets in the game, we can actually pick these two right here, these two skills right here, whenever we're not in boss stages so that we can clear mobs faster. So this one is just frost damage per second in AoE, but it does not affect bosses. So this one's pretty good. And this one increases your stats, but you have to hit like additional enemies or multiple enemies to actually benefit from it. So yeah, these two nodes right here are pretty strong as well if you are clearing mobs. So if you have the time or if you're pretty fast with it, you can actually disable some of the nodes. Like for example, disable this and disable one more somewhere and then enable this and enable this. You get to benefit from doing AoE clearing stuff. So yeah, that's it for the talents. Again, if you have recommendations or if I missed anything from the talent nodes, let me know in the comments below. Okay, next let's talk about skill prioritization. Priority is always Frostbeam. If you can get this one to tier 6 ASAP, then that's what you get to tier 6 first. Next priority is going to be Permafrost. So Permafrost to tier 6 is your next. But initially, you want them probably like tier 3 on Frostbeam, tier 3 Permafrost, and Tidepool, Maelstrom. So those are like your 4 skills that are crucial to your kit. So priorities is Frostbeam first, Permafrost second, and then Tidepool or Maelstrom next. And then you have your ult and Crystal Veil, and then basic. Only reason why I have tier 3 on ult is because of the ability score that it gives me. Okay, next we have our skill rotations here. For skill rotations, you want to start with your Battle Imagines and then cast 1 Crystal Veil to be able to start charging up your Frost Crystals right here. And then you go with an ult, Permafrost, Maelstrom, and then do your Frostbeam plus your Tidepool. So that's my usual rotation. So you can see it here in action. And there you go. And you can see here, we have a lot of mana regen. So my energy bar is not even moving while my ult is still here and while Permafrost is active. So that's actually a very, very long rotation for us. Well, that's our main burst rotation because that's where we get to use all our skills. So usually you get to do this at the start of the fight during a boss fight. So very strong rotation right here. So once you're off rotation, you always want to be casting this thing right here because you want to keep up your Frost Crystals. And the main rotation is basically just casting Maelstrom into your Frostbeam. Always, like that's it. And then you're just basically waiting, basic attacking, waiting for your cooldowns to go off until you have your ult and your Permafrost up again, Maelstrom, and then do the same stuff all over again. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Very, very simple rotation right here. Again, once everything is done, you are waiting again, waiting. It's always going to be Maelstrom. The reason why you want to be casting Maelstrom is Maelstrom gives you a lot of mana regen and you get to cast your Frostbeam again just by using your Maelstrom. So yeah, so it revolves around using Maelstrom plus Frostbeam whenever everything else is off cooldown. Okay, and then once you have your ult, your stuff available again, permafrost ult, or even if you don't have your ult yet, if you have your permafrost available already, just use your permafrost and just use your frostbeam. Also, maelstrom only grants a lot of mana regen if you hit multiple enemies, so you want to be targeting correctly. You can press tab to actually switch targets if you want to, or you can just look at them as well, right? So if you're looking at them, you want to target like the middle and then pull them all in. Okay, so yeah, that's it for the skill rotations. Okay, next up, let's talk about the possible battle imagines that you can have. So for me here, I'm trying to get tier 5 Warrior Tyrant and Muku Scout. So endgame, you want like Muku Scout plus Muku Chief, but right now, this is what I have. Warrior Tyrant because of the special attack damage that it gives. Again, special attack is our Frostbeam. And then Muku Scout right here synergizes pretty well with our class. So dealing 10 times in a row, dealing damage 10 times in a row within 3 seconds grants us a buff that increases attack by 5% up to 3 times, so lasting for 5 seconds. So this is basically 15% extra attack for us, okay? And then of course, this damage actually goes doubled, right? This goes doubled whenever we cast these abilities. Same with the Warrior Tyrant, right? So upon cast, damage dealt and healing of your special attack are increased for a period. Okay, so it is increased, so that's why you want to use these things at the start of the fight on your first combo. Okay, next we have Muku Chief here. The reason why we like Muku Chief is for the crit damage and crit bonus that it has. So this is like your end game gold imagine. The other one that we can consider is Venobzar right here. So just additional stats, but it also grants vulnerability to the enemy. So this is like a debuff onto the enemies, so you get to deal more damage onto the enemies. But this one, I don't think does not stack, right? So if one of your teammates already has Venobzar, then you don't have to try to build this one as well. So only one person in the party needs to build it. Other purple imagines to consider is this one right here, Falling Star. So it gives 4% intellect instead of the special attack damage. So intellect actually benefits a lot of your stats since it's basically your damage, so it's not just your special attack that's being buffed. The other one is this guy right here, Water of Silence. So ice bonus plus 3%, again affects all of your skills, not just your special attack. Okay, now when it comes to gear, this is all level 40 gear, so I've not really grinded as much to try to find the perfect stats for the gear. But when it comes to gear, your priorities for gear, for legend affixes, you kind of want damage bonus versus bosses. This one's pretty good, but priorities always, of course, is just your main stats. So intellect, if you find intellect, that's good. But if you find damage bonus versus bosses, this one's decent as well. Okay, so yeah, your priority is like main stat, intellect first, and then damage bonus versus bosses, and then SEM attack or range damage bonus. Okay, and then for the substats or advanced attributes, the ones that you want to prioritize are crit, haste, and mastery, and a little bit of versatility. So those are like the 4 stats. You already saw from our talent tree that we are getting a lot of haste, and we're getting a lot of haste from permafrost as well. So you don't want to go ham on haste, but yeah, we want to prioritize crit first. If we don't get haste, it's fine, but we want to get more mastery and then a little bit of versatility. Again, we don't want a lot of luck because of one of our talent nodes that reduces the damage of our lucky strikes whenever we're on permafrost state. Okay, for the armors, all armors, the affix that you want is like main stat really, and then again haste mastery if you can get them, haste mastery and crit, haste mastery, crit. That's pretty much it. And when it comes to gems, this is the gems that you want. It's just the crit intellect gems for all your equipments. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the equipment. So level 60 equipment will be coming up soon, so I'm not really worried with farming any more level 40 equipment right now because I'm just gonna grind hard once the level 80 equipment are out. And that's where we want to fix our stats. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it for this guide. If I missed anything or if you have any other comments, questions, suggestions, let me know in the comments below. We can talk. I always try to respond to everyone's comments if I can, or if I know the answer to the questions you're asking me. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. GG's. But if I lay down